it hasn't really worked very well for them, for the teams that have done it. Here are our bans. I believe Hanamura is still globally banned. So...
Not Hanamura, but Volskaya.
Oh, sorry, Volskaya. Well, Hanamura definitely globally banned. I wasn't even trying to make a funny joke there, but...
I got your brainwashed. I got you brainwashed there. Well,
yeah, well, okay. Hanamura is certainly globally banned, but Volskaya is as well, so that's why we see the Tomb ban instead. Oh boy. Starting the night off great, G-Club. We're going to go to Infernal Shrines to do the map pick of Ace. Not a crazy pick here by any means against KSV.
And they actually banned out Spider Queens. Seemed like they really don't want to pressure into all the wave clear, as they were often by rotation, losing rotation because of that wave clear. And we have something new on the screen. Not too surprising though.
Yeah.
Genji, Avatar, Hanzo, most bans, yes, I do agree.
So this basically is involvement rate in terms of games. By the way, that's 100 pretty much for 100% nearly for these three heroes. And then of course their ban rate per game. So I feel like when you take a look at this, it's no shocker. The first pick rate for Greymane is insanely high. In fact, when I go back and do draft research in Korea, sometimes if I just see a screenshot of the draft, I could tell who first pick was by which team picked Greymane.
Yes. And Luther along with Sonya right after. And basically that has been the key to the draft last weekend. But starting this weekend, where do you put Tyrael here? I think Tyrael really is so much stronger with the changes right now. I think they are definitely considering either do we pick up Luther along with Greymane or Tyrael. There it is, and it is the
Tyrael too.
The best skin.
Best skin indeed.
Nobody changed it.
Oh, well, he might change it back. He can change it any time. That's the cool thing about our in-game draft G-Clubs. You can change your skin at any moment. All these players have unlocked skins. They can pick any skin, any tint. Well, KCB is not going to be playing Rhaegar today. It is going to be taken away here, denied by Kyocha. We'll be locking it in here. And now the question is what comes with it. Because if you are going to run Rhaegar, you want a strong, tanky soul laner in most cases. Sonya is still available, but because of the nerf to Poison Spear, and especially Rich's playstyle, based around being a very aggressive Sonya, he might want to avoid prioritizing that, might look for a more passive soul laner instead, but we're still looking for a tanky one when you have the Rhaegar here.
Yep, a big change to Tyrael. Actually, passive spell armor is actually now removed, but base health went up by 170-ish. And lots of big changes now. The shield basically a lot more shield for your teammates. Also, Holy Grail at 13. Of course, the duration time is reduced down to 3 seconds, but still, I think Tyrael now with all these changes, because of so much shielding available now with the smite damage too, can actually be the solo tank in a way.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes he was, and can play a lot more flexible roles now. It could be the solo tank, can also be the solo laner. And with some of the changes actually make him a stronger solo laner. He has a lot more sustainability, his ability to auto attack to heal on one of his talents, for example, and what he can do with smite allows him to have a lot more sustainability in like a solo lane environment. And that's how I've been playing him a lot of the time in my solo queue games right now. But he also has the ability to make his allies' shields, which I think is probably how it's going to be played in this case with Greymane, be the same as his, not the kind of weaker version. Make it 100% on level 1, so... Yeah,
also level 4 talent basically gives him that armor when his Q's thrown, and after 3 seconds that he teleports. So yeah, basically he's got that armor now, so that's why his spell armor is removed.
So let's talk about Jaina for a second, because I've been studying this quite a bit in Korea exclusively, and Jaina has an insane win rate. She has the highest win rate per pick rate right now of
she has
Assassins.
7 and 1 and 87% win rate.
That's right.
Insane. One of the highest right now. Even higher than an Ubarak at the moment.
Yeah, she's one higher than Hanzo in DPS. Hanzo's obviously been played 20 times versus Jaina's 8 games, but she's seen 1 loss total. And her burst damage and her ability to also be somewhat of an anti-dive hero. I know it sounds crazy, but her ability to anti-dive is fantastic because of the slow she grants. Now, this is something we almost never see, by the way, in Heroes of the Storm worldwide. It's Noblesse. That's Noblesse right there, behind Tist, coaching live the draft. And that is one factor that KSV has that no other team in Korea has at the moment, is live coaching via someone staying behind talking through the draft. We have that in League of Legends. We have this in StarCraft, map picks and things like that. We do not have that in Heroes, and Noblesse is one of the most famous players, one of the most famous tanks that have ever touched the game, and it's cool that he could be there to give advice during these moments.
Yep, still top 5 in Grandmaster Korea, from what I know. And they're just gonna finish it with Stukov, because KCV has lost that record. It'll be his first competitive Stukov play today.
That's right. This is also the tanky frontliner we were talking about, will be the Dahaka. So that's going to be the tanky soul laner, I should say, with Li-Ming coming through. Li-Ming going to be stronger in this case with burst against Stukov's slower healing. So Li-Ming's burst damage can often break through that, can lead to resets, calamity damage. Oh, Chu8 live in the studio. But yeah, Stukov's damage, or his healing, is slow. So I like this pick. They have Hanzo who can set up the combos with his heroic. Li-Ming can finish with the damage to be reset on that hero, no doubt. The question here will be is, what sort of influence does Tyrael make in the solo lane? Because that's going to be, he should be the solo laner given this draft. And how can Ace play around this insanely strong draft for Black that has a strong pushing solo laner, great burst heals, and has the damage to break through Stukov's slower healing? That's going to be the question here. Team fighting will be a challenge for Ace. They need to burst down solo targets. Getting in there, though, with two tanky frontliners, Muradin and Dahaka. How is Jaina going to close that gap? It's a tough question to answer.
That's gonna be it. As basically from Li-Ming and Hanzo, Black will be just poking out. They will not be going in. As you said, Jaina's range is a lot shorter than compared to Hanzo and Li-Ming on the other side. There are lots of mages and pokes from the side, but is it going to be enough? Let's see, there's a grab onto ETC. Getting the bio kill switch.
Could have been a pick if not for Stukov's good lurking arm there. And Jaina's damage. Look at the angle there from Sake on the Li-Ming. Thought it would be a reset, but Sake going back to an old favorite here. Trade here, fantastic for KSV Black. Kyocha, because he is playing Rhaegar, need to take Wolf Run at level 1. He's able to sneak down here, mess with this wave a little bit, see the slower rotations down. So Hero is going to be solo laning with this Tyrael. Just taking his shield talent at level 1. Meanwhile, Tist getting silenced here. First blood will go over to Ace. They grab the kill here with all those slows. The silence, the slows coming through from Stukov as well as Jaina's slows. The ETC obviously makes the early game very much a pain for KSV Black.
Ragey slows coming out all the time. Well, if Muradin's... One of the things, Muradin only having 33% win rate most of the time, because now you can kind of tell when Muradin is going to use that dwarf toss all the time. It will be getting cancelled so much. It's not unstoppable anymore, of course. Sure. That change was a long time ago, but
I know.
Now all the players are so used to that timing. It gets cancelled so many times, and if you lose that dwarf toss, you're basically gone.
Yeah, I mean, you can really mess with it with ETC, with this face melt. It's such a great tool. It's such a large area of interruption. If you position yourself correctly, it's very easy to get that interrupt. We're going to see Ace try to control the early game with this pick. Very systematic taking of these Impalers, forcing a rotation down from Black, who are actually having to deal with the camp in mid right now. And Ace, hate to say it if you're a KSV fan, is controlling this early game in every lane and in every aspect. Knowing that the rotation from mid is impossible, taking this bottom camp, now winning both bot and mid because of what happened in that last exchange. Rich is low on health, and the lane was pushed in top lane for quite some time. So Ace in fantastic position for the first shrine at the moment.
And I think he's just setting up to soak in EXP from the side as they're missing in lane. They were trying to defend and also take care of the camp from the bottom lane. Took some time because they lost that Muradin. I think they really... Things really started from there, not just because Rich was low in HP. I don't think he had time to join the other battle anytime soon.
Yeah, you're certainly right about that. Now this Shrine is activating. Ace has superior position. Rich has to go up and clear the top because he was trying to get a pick on Rush, who was very patient. Notice his patience there on the Jaina. That's how you got to play it. When you don't have vision, you play safe. That was really impressive to see. Now they have control of the Shrine. KSV Black could have to make the rotation, and remember, pre-10, Ace should have the advantage because they have an ETC comp, and they won that early macro exchange. Tist pushing through, Ace just kiting back safely. Rich's positioning here a bit questionable though, going for a flank. punished instantly. Ace with the punish, up now 2 kills to 0.
And a lot less damage and a lot less CC. There's no drag for them to actually hit on the target. No Dehaka means they can soak up so much more EXP. When Dehaka responds, I don't think he used the brush tucker there. Maybe he did.
I think he did.
If he did, then it takes so much more time to get back to the lane even.
Yeah, look, you can see he's walking there on the minimap. I think he tried to brush talk to flank there to grab the DPS in the back line.
So maybe he did it.
But risky choice either way. Like depending on his positioning, we don't know if he brush talked in or not. But the important thing to note though is it was a cool idea in theory, but wholly unnecessary given that Ace has ETC in this early game that can deflect. They have Tyrael as well that can deflect this type of flanking. They simply collapsed there. And they were ahead in terms of defenders because they got to the shrine first. And look at the difference here. This time Rush does get aggressive. This time he does do damage to the cannon tower wall because they knew where KSV Black was in every respect during that moment. Knowing Rich was top, knowing he brush stalked, you know, as we did catch there to get back into the top lane, he goes and gets greedy, gets a few little extra shots done. And Ace is controlling this early game very well. Now, post 10, the team fighting is going to get a lot more difficult, but this is the best early game they could ever ask for.
Look at that perfect QW from Sake. Looking to punish a little bit. I think this isn't really the time for them to be aggressive when they're behind this much.
They're trying to play make here. Block that Stormbolt. Yeah, the minion there. MVP, stop that.
I think they're trying to just clear the way because they have Hanzo. They're trying to really go for the quick camp time, and try to out-rotate or catch up the rotation in that way because they're way too behind in this early game right now. I think that is the best way to catch up.
Basically what they need to do is to, as you say, clear the waves and just make sure that nobody dies. Make sure they can do a little bit of structural damage here and stay, even if they're a little bit behind in experience, fairly even to get 10 for the next shrine. That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal, is to make sure that they can get 10 without a huge snowball occurring, without them losing one of their forwards, because that's what Ace's goal is the opposite, obviously, to snowball this game, because they know that in terms of team fighting, they don't have a comp that's strong against what KSV Black has drafted, because the longer the fight goes, the tougher it is going to be for Stukov to actually deal with the burst damage that's coming through from the Hanzo stun, the Li Ming finishing up. Like, if Black gets the setup they want with their heroics, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Ace.
And that timing is coming very soon as Ace is hitting 10 in a matter of seconds. As Dehaka has not been playing the best tonight so far, only 6 minutes into the game, but there's the power of ETC. Not really used, but has to use Cleanse because of that silence.
Yeah. Perhaps an opportunity to even mosh there had Cleanse been used earlier, so good for Kyocha. He hadn't used it yet. Here's 10 for Black now. There's going to be isolation coming through. In fact, they're going to use it right away here.
Ooh, silence right before the Z hits.
I mean,
it's going to be, about a dead Jaina from
yeah, Jaina does die. Meanwhile, Rush perhaps being a bit aggressive, but Rich is known for fairly mediocre Dehaka play. We've criticized him for in the past, but he has certainly had in one of those games today. Witcher going to turn around and do as much damage again. It's a 3-man mosh here, though. Huge opportunity. KCV comes through.
If there was Jaina, that could have been at least 2-3 kills.
Yeah. So a bit of a wonky turnaround here, but KSV Black are looking sloppy, G-Clef. Not playing around the mosh, but they're not having vision of Gamey's rotation. Rich getting picked, using isolation as well, which is still down for 20 seconds to try to escape, what was never going to happen. They will have control of the shrine by virtue of position.
They're having great rotation for that. Plus on that, KCB's lurking arm. Look at that silence.
The Jaina damage too. Tist is dead. Gamey gets out. Rich can't get through here. Reset's got no angle right now to do any sort of damage. The body blocks are real. No scatter arrow going to turn that. So sure, they get control of the shrine first. They grab 6 of these, but the control of this composition from Ace is just really phenomenal. This slows, the ETC comes in, stuns into a silence, into the slows coming through from Jaina. Very well practiced, this comp what we're seeing.
And I'm impressed with KCV already. Let's see what else he can actually accomplish. As Dehaka is in the middle lane, trying to catch up the EXP as they hold. They have an upper hand in the heroics. They have all the 5 as Mosh Pit's still 40 seconds.
What Ace's mistake here is not splitting a hero off. I was just trying to remember if it was hero rush on material. Splitting hero off here to soak during this fight. Once it was already won, Black put on a lot of heavy pressure, but because they have a global pusher like Dahaka, they soaked so much extra. Ace didn't punish that, so Black doesn't end up being too far behind in experience here. So Ace finally rotating over. We actually have a fight between Material and Dahaka off screen at the moment, but no one's dying. Or taking some significant damage. It is the Arcane Punisher as it jumps forward. Gamey looking for an opportunity here.
Ooh, if he had Mosh Pit, I think that could have been an okay time.
Didn't have it. It was like 3 seconds away at that moment. Does survive here, but Rush is not going to be so lucky.
Jaina does not have an escape, and Rich joins the fight. There's isolation onto Witcher. Some CC follow-up, and that's going to be the kill with the damage from Hanzo.
Resets coming through here for Sake. Gamey, though, should be able to find his way out of this. Does avoid that orb. Got marked by the arrow, but it's going to be okay. He gets out, gets behind the wall. So this actually ends up being a win for Black because Ace overextended and got punished. Maybe perhaps kind of getting a little bit, I always say this, maybe forgetting about Rich, forgetting about the potential, like forgetting about the flanking potential there. Having that outside of their mind for a moment. Hero nearly picked as well. Big rotation for KSV this time. Ace doesn't have a punish setup for Gamey because Rich blocked him out, as you can see here. In fact, Gamey's pretty frustrated. Can't really even go deal with those impalers at the moment.
And Power Up Black Link coming in with Hanzo. Can't clear time. It's just so fast. That's why Hanzo spanned all the time. They're using that to maximize their potential at the bottom lane. And they're rotating exactly like it. They hack out to the other side, so you can join any time. And Ace, I think they were maybe having too much of a good time at the beginning, but maybe they forgot about what KSV can actually do with this kind of team comp.
Yeah, I mean, KSV is essentially roaming as 4, stealing camps, looking for picks, while Dahaka is pushing everywhere else, which is a great way to use Dahaka. And because there's no hero to really punish this type of play on the side of Ace, they struggle. Now they're going to 5-man group, but remember, Dahaka can just come in at any moment. In fact, he will right now, flanking. Flailing Arms good here. A huge stun comes in from the arrow, but the Flailing Arms should help them escape. Witcher gets out. Sanks used. Very well positioned here. They need to fight, though, if they're going to fight.
They lost a lot of time already.
Oh, and Sake's
flank.
He's just going to pop off here. Double kill already. Gamey trying to do what he can here with this Mosh, but he's just going to die.
Indecisive moments coming out from Hero here as Witcher, because he was half HP but has Sanctification. Do you really go in? But you were kind of late. He was going back and forth for 1 second, even more than a second there, and basically lost all the chance to grab in and go do some damage. And meanwhile, Black was positioning perfectly there.
The Sank was really well placed. It was a little bit late, but they didn't fight under it. There was a lot of hesitation, and obviously they're looking at a comp that has one hero that could benefit really greatly from the Sank, that's Greymane, and then Jaina, who can't really stand there because if the Sank goes away, she dies. And
unless they basically finish the team fight within that 2 seconds.
Exactly. You're on the money with that. And you can see how quickly Hanzo can clear camps, but the coordination is still, I feel like, a little bit lacking. There was a few mistakes there, but the ideas are good for Ace. This is, I think, by far their best professional game played this season. But KSV Black has taken back control of the game. We knew they're accomplishing better for the late game. It shows. And what Ace can do here, you know, pre-16 against this Shrine, I don't know. It's pretty limited, the options they have.
You can basically tell by the number. Li Ming and Hanzo both had 36k. When Greymane only had a low 20k damage. It's because where Black can always poke. Even before fighting, they can do everything they want to. Yeah, Holy Ground is now at 13, so there's that Holy Ground. But Rich, can he survive this?
Okay, arrow comes through, goes super wide. Rich is definitely not getting out of this. He's buying a lot of time, and they will get the Frozen Punisher, but was chasing Rich as a 5-man really worth it at the end of the day? I don't think so. Punisher's up, pushing far away from where everyone on Ace is. They're probably, most of them just hearth home. Looks like Tyrael's gonna be the only one to rotate down mid to try to deal with this push, but KSV Black gets more than they could have ever asked for with this. And sure, Rich has a long death timer, but 25 seconds he'll be able to brush dog in. And Ace can't take a fight during this window of time while he's dead, so they have an amateur mistake to chase Rich there. Rich got exactly what he wanted out of that, and maybe Someone's saying rich speed lol in the chat or something like that, but that's exactly what KSV Black wanted, was that chase.
But I think at least getting a kill was actually better than just wasting time trying to contest, because I think by that time they already lost the count. They couldn't really get the Punisher unless they win the entire team fight. They were not 16 at the moment, so I think it was an okay choice comparing to not doing anything, you know.
I feel like the trade-off really though is that they lost a mid fort for free. It was unrelated to the Punisher because the rotation was so slow. And, you know, getting a kill will affect, especially the macro when you're dealing with a global hero. It feels great to actually remove that extra pressure from the game for, you know, a temporary moment, but trade-off here quite severe. And better than nothing, as you say, certainly, but see if Ace can turn this around. They're not looking like they're going to reach 20 before KSV Black. And they are setting up for a bit of a punish play here. With Jaina, this could be quite strong, but oh no. Hero grabbed instantly there. They found him first, didn't have vision. Tough to set up a play like this when you don't really know where Black is. You're kind of guessing at that point, whereas Black knows where Tyrael could theoretically be, so the grab happens instantly.
And then they didn't really get to see where Black was. Maybe they were thinking that they were just rotating around these camps at the bottom. And it's always a good idea to just roll the Q and make sure you're secured around the area. As his teammates were right next to it too. So I guess he was just caught off guard there.
Yeah. KSV approaching 20 now. Still haven't put a dent into the keeps, but have damage to keep walls. Rich looking for that top fort right now to push them ever so closer to that coveted level 20. Gamey caught here. Does get a nice power slide out. Won't be able to escape with his life, but very risky moment there. Had he died, it would have been a keep for sure for Black. Just grabbing each wave of 7 minions here.
Look at I like the positioning. ETC is going around. He's trying to punish the back line as their poking is spotted.
Okay, could he go for the Mosh? He will. Where's that Jaina damage? Oh, the Holy Ground, super anti-synergy there.
Insta-cancelled. There's a swipe. Sanctification is good, but this is buying all the time. Look at Hanzo and basically Sake doing 3 damage.
The silence was well placed, but so much extra damage coming through. Sake is safe here. Reset coming from behind, and just so much sustainability for Murd. And look at what Tist was able to do alone. Goes super low. Now he's going to heal up. He's going to prevent the retreat here. Those he's on the left side here.
Look at Sake going in for the reset. Alone, he's doing all that damage.
And look at Tist. He was already ready to prevent the retreat. So well played here on the Murd. And Witcher going to try to see if he can make this a trade. It's pretty unlikely as he does get taken down with no mana Sake. And that is going to be the end of that fight, and that is going to be the end of the game, potentially. Long death timers here. Gonna go for the keep, retreat back to the shrine. Black's got there, as I like to call it, the choose your own adventure ending to this game, as Rich will solo the Punisher, and then we'll have Ace with those respawns keepless, try to defeat this Punisher, try to defend as it pushes mid. To be a sad story. Yeah,
and Mosh Pit was cancelled by the arrow even before the Holy Ground, so it was a big anti-synergy after all.
Yeah, I mean,
for them to focus on to Muradin, but that was not happening. Tusk was waiting for the moment to throw toss off, and Witcher had because they spent all the damage onto the Muradin. They didn't have anything else to back it up with Sake or Hanzo from KSV Black.
They also knocked everyone out of the Blizzard, which is the main damage that was going to happen in that fight. Had the Mosh stayed there, they would have been knocked out anyways. It was definitely one of those moments where communication was not perfect, shall we say.
Or else, maybe they thought they had enough damage to actually take out Muradin, which was not the case.
The idea was really cool, and the setup was quite nice, but the execution was off, and KSV Black will win this game because of this move that Ace tried to do, which I thought was smart, but we're going to see the first pick is going to be the Greymane here. The Punisher launching forward.
Look at that stun. I mean,
Sake is just going off.
KSV will be the last
Sake almost with the pentakill. So close to the penta. He got the quadra. That's going to be game over here as KSV Black comes back after an early game deficit. I knew that's how the draft was probably going to play out, but they were able to make the right plays there in the end. But again, Rich showing some weaknesses on the Dahaka. Those weaknesses maybe not as glaring here against Ace, but against teams like Blossom, Tempest, Ballistics, those weaknesses will definitely come back to bite him. And maybe it feels like training grounds for Rich tonight as he improves his proficiency on this hero he's failed at internationally, he's failed at here locally in Korea. But I think it's time to up the Dahaka play and play, you know, understand Dahaka's role as not an aggressive hero, not a flanker, not a hero to get kills, but as a pushing macro hero.
Yeah, Rich was from the